I am Victoria Bueno Delgado from Technical University of Cartagena, and I'm going to present you the work titled Co-Design and Engineering of User Requirements for a Novel ICT Healthcare Solution in Murcia. My colleague Ramon Martinez was in charge of this presentation, but he doesn't feel well, so today I'm here to present the work. Okay, let me introduce what is this work about. All the contributors of this paper are involved in the Horizon 2020 Pharaon project. This project, the goal is to design and implement a European healthcare ecosystem where people and different software and hardware ICT solutions interact in a smart and non-intrusive and dynamic way based in a healthcare solution. So this Pharaon ecosystem is composed of a great variety of technology solutions organized in 6 different clusters in 5 different pilots in Europe. In 6 different clusters. That means 6 different pilots in 5 different countries in Europe. So the goal of each pilot is to perform a set of scenarios and use cases using some different novel technologies and healthcare solutions. And the Pharaon ecosystems will orchestrate the subset of technologies and data of each pilot. And the final goal is to perform a novel and collaborative cross-pilot scenarios. So, where we are, the contributors of this work are working in the pilot in Murcia. We are 6 different partners, technology providers, research centers, and so on. And the goal is to deploy a new telecare model based on teleassistance, proactivity and preventions, uses and their environments with 2 different scenarios. Angel of Health, that is try to improve services and care of chronic heart failure patients and try to reduce the dependency. And Care Home, that the focus is to detect emergency situations, to reduce the dependency, and to use technologies for non-intrusive monitoring. So we want to do all of these scenarios using different technologies, but before to do the design, the development, and the deploy, we have a first stage, that is the co-design and user requirements engineering work. And this is what we are presenting here. It's not a technology solution, it's the first step before to design and deploy this technology solution, in this case in the Murcia pilot. Why we presented this work? Okay, because we think that this methodology that we have used for our pilot could serve as inspiration for other similar approaches in the smart healthcare solutions and in the assisted living solutions and so on. So let me show you what is the meaning of co-design and user requirements engineering work. Firstly, you have to know that the Pharaon project is a human-centric design. That means that the co-design is a critical phase for success of this project. This means that the opinion of the stakeholders, of the users that will use the technology, is very important in order to identify the needs, in order to define the final goals, the user scenarios, and so on. So the co-designs will help also to these stakeholders to be involved in the project development. So this improves the creativity process, the service, the project management, and so on. In our case, the co-design phases will be two: to identify the goals of the service design that we want to perform, and to align these co-design activities with the final benefits of those goals identified. So we have followed an iterative co-design. That is, okay, we identify some goal models, some users' requirements, those scenarios, the users' stories, and we go to the user's experience design and prototyping. We evaluate the user's requirements, and maybe we have to go back to the goals models again in order to improve or modify and so on. In this iterative co-design, the stakeholders, of course, are involved. So, how we involve these stakeholders? Okay, we use surveys, interviews, or co-design workshops. The participants are those that will use the technology. In the Murcia pilot, in our case, will be other adults, healthcare professionals, formal and informal caregivers, and service providers, and so on. And then, when we gather the information from these co-design workshops, so from these surveys, from this interview, we have to model the goals using some modeling type. In our case, is the motivational goal modeling that is based on 4 different roles. In this case, emotional goals, functional goals, quality goals, and the roles. What is it? Okay, the functional goals are those that define what we have to do, okay? What it should do. The quality goals is who it should be. The emotional goals is how it should feel. And who is the stakeholders. That is, for each scenario that we explain to the stakeholders in these co-design workshops, we have to identify the do, the be, the feel, and the who in order to finally describe those goals models. Okay? So this is a simple example of a goal model designed for a well-being support system for other adults, where you can see here the functional, the emotional goals, the roles, and so on. This is just an example to show you what I'm explaining. So, refreshing the Murcia pilot, we set at the beginning of the project, we set 2 target scenarios: Angelo Health and Care Home, and we launched the co-design in order to ask and to know the stakeholders, their experience, their needs, their feelings, and their goals, just to redefine these scenarios and to do the co-design and the engineering work. So to do that, we do a methodology that is for the engineering user and pilot requirements that was based on 3 different workshops, on-site workshops. But the problem was that we have the pandemic situation in the middle of this when these workshops were scheduled, so we had to do a contingency methodology for getting the feedback of the users and trying to define the goals model, the scenarios, and the user requirements. I'm not going to go in depth with the contingency methodology. It's explained in the paper. Just to show you that from this co-design workshops, we identify the goals, how they want to feel, what they want to do, the operative system, what they expect from the technology from different point of views. And this helped us to finally identify the goals of each scenario, the roles involved, the quality goals and KPI, and the emotional goals, and also which technologies from those that provide the different providers that I set in at the beginning of this presentation, which technologies will be involved in each scenario. So we finally were able to define the user requirements using all the feedbacks, or using the human-centered design with the stakeholders involved. So from this data gathered in the previous analysis, and with those scenarios where we identify the goals and the emotional and technologies involved and so on, we finally define 3 different goal models for these 2 scenarios. The first one, get involved in the health and care process. The second one, to improve the patient care. And the third one, to detect emergency situations. I want to show you one of those 3 goal models, just to show you how we model the different goals models. In this case, you can see here the goals, the emotional goals, the technicals, the emotionals, and the functional goals, and so on. And okay, from these goals models and main scenarios, then we can define the use cases that will be the bridge from the goals models and scenarios to the development of the technological solutions. These 7 use cases are here: to improve patient care, boost disease follow-up, upgrade interventions, and so on. Here you can see one example of one of the use cases. Note that we use a software design methodology for these use cases. That is the previous step before to implement and to design, to develop the technological solutions, software and hardware solution. So, just a conclusion, I want to emphasize in my message that we don't provide a tangible solution in this work. What we want to show you is that the co-design like user requirements engineering work is a really important task before to deploy to a technological solution in a smart environment and ambient assistant living solutions and so on. We have explained how we did it in our pilot in the Murcia region in the framework of the Param project. Just to show you the user's requirements as goal models, use cases, scenarios, user stories, and so on. And finally, just to show you that this result fits the next step that has already done, that is the pilot deployment, the decision of making of technologies for each of the 7 use cases scenarios that we finally identified. So thank you so much for attending this presentation. We want to thank you, all the partners in the pilot, and and people involved in the project as well. Thank you so much. If you have any question, just let me know.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions? Great.
Francisco, cheers.
Cheers. Yes, good. I think that this should be good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I will have one question. How do you measure emotional goals? Because they seem to be a bit, so to say, personal perception about your emotion. Or do you have some method that observe a person and measure their emotions from the outside, even though they're not aware that they are happy or sad?
Yes, we identify some emotional goals during the co-design workshops, but the way to measure this are using some key performance indicators that we are still discussing about them, how we are going to monitor during the pilot deployment, but now we are in the phase of the revalidation of technologies, just to know that they are working properly. But after that, we will deploy the pilot during 1 year, and we are still discussing how to measure these emotional goals. We are discussing about them.
May I comment as one of the authors here? So there are different well-being questionnaires available, and they are standardized, and they measure also emotional satisfaction. So these will be applied. So it's a part of the answer. And another part, so we could maybe, but depends on the pilot, even try to measure the brain waves. But this is also gives some hints about the affective states of people, like older adults, which are not the same as emotions, but we can actually deduce emotions, more complex emotions from these simple affects that can be measured, like being happy or being scared or something, and things like that. So there are ways how to measure the fulfillment of emotional goals.
Okay, thank you, Kunga, for the explanation, and thank Victoria for the presentation. Next presenter is Veronika Kotrabiova from the Slovak University of Technology in Bratislava, Faculty of Architecture and Design, support motor skills in the age-friendly built environment. Go ahead, Veronika.
Thank you very much. I'll try to open the presentation. I tried the presentation, but it can happen that we will have to stay by this format. But let's see. So
Before people see.
yeah, so this study is something like state of art. We just start to conduct some research, which will be interdisciplinary. Also within design project, which is based on the co-Sheldon action. We start the partnership. So this was the initial study of what we will do further in another project. So that's why it will be not a measurement here. And we start to focus on the motor skills, which are one of the fundamental aspects of measuring human performance, and aging is accompanied by changes in the motor skills. So what was positive to find out was that the learning capacity remained intact. So it means that we can still improve, and we are aging, and it is comparable with abilities to learn, not only learning, mental learning, but also so and some development of the motor skills. So that's why it is worth to speak about this. And this is the situation. And this implies to foster refined motor skills. So it means that it has a meaning to challenge them and to find out what are the best and better approaches. So I started gross motor skills. that are developed in the early childhood when the child is learning how to behave with unbad, and it's very important for overall habitus of any kind of live creature, and it should remain as well as possible until end of our life. And what is the enemy of having good cross-motor skills is physical laziness. That can be sort of behavioral dependence, and there are studies that are showing that even the laziness can have the character of dependence, of non-chemical dependence. So chronic physical hypoactivity can be mental disorder, laziness can be primary behavioral dependence, and this is something that can have since our mature times, and in the later times of our life it can be a big problem, together with sedentary culture that contributes to overall physical and mental impairment. This is from our previous research, where really movement is related to all kinds of civilization diseases, and they are worse if we are not moving. And movement is much more important when we are getting old. Obesity is also a big problem. It's very often connected with aging, and it's sedentary culture and also laziness. So here are the three different strategies that we have explored. First is sufficient physical support and prevention of falls, not necessary for being safe and having a stable health state, let's say. Then movement in form of exercises and introducing different body postures. So these are the three topics that I will speak about further. So the sufficient physical support and prevention of falls. Of course, the best is natural and spontaneous mobility. So maintaining independence and supporting specialization to go out. So it's connected also with social inclusion, not to stay at home, but to go out. So be self-sufficient and self-confidence about our body and about coordination of our movement. And very positive is when they are walkable areas in the city. And also important is, of course, to have universally or to design the public spaces and common spaces in house units to be without barriers. So no limits and no barriers. It's another philosophy, but what is connected with instability problems with walking is that we have in later times the degenerative changes in the joints, having mobility support utensils at home that are preventing falls and their health impacts, then having body strength helps to prevent social isolation. And there is a question if we can permanently challenge by space arrangement, furnishing or resignation for passive comfort. So there's two different approaches that we'll speak about also later. And here is something like summary of also the results of workshop that we did in another project that I was mentioning. So to have enough mobility means to have enough space, no barriers, then support everywhere at home. So to have handles and supports in the bathroom, and also in other used areas, not only in the bathroom, but all around the flat. And they can be also incorporated in the furniture. So this is for us important point, that we can have these handles already built in normal house furnishing, and they doesn't have to be so visible. It doesn't have to be something like ageism. So to have everywhere only handles, but it can be really incorporated in an aesthetic way. And also the sort of material of the floors, so better are soft worn floors, no sliding materials, and better are carpets, soft wooden floor, from spruce, pine, cork, and natural linoleum. So, but there is a problem. The soft floor is in conflict with the maintenance, and of course the carpet is not so easy to clean, like when we have the ceramic tiles and so on. But the carpets are better for walking, and also better for preventing injuries by falling. So the simplest way to prevent fall is to keep up regular physical activity appropriate to age and health situation, to maintain core muscles and leg strength, and in order to social isolation, sufficient body strength is needed. And this is connected already to the second point, and it is about independence and self-sufficiency through adaptable housing, universal design and design for all. So these are the concepts of the kitchen, that are already set for using in any kind of state for view. And it's a small revolution in the design, let's say. So it looks different. So it's again the stereotype. And this is the solution that is useful for whole life. Also, in the cases when we are disabled for a short term or for longer term. And it is having empty space under the working place, then to have the containers that is possible to fold out, lower shelves, and many others rules that we are right now exploring and putting into the curriculum. Also, spontaneous moving by living with children is very beneficial, so really spontaneous mobility. And it is something that is not necessary to plan, but in a natural way it helps to perform and to have gross motor skills in a good state. So this is connected also with multi-generation housing and the mixed programs in the housing facilities. And the co-living with pet is also very important because it's also spontaneous movement without any kind of special planning and plans, exercises, and so on. So to live with so this kind of pet that is really matching to our contemporary state of the mental and physical health. Out and plus there is a also socialization, but also having contact, haptization. This it's also called, it has a name. It's a kind of therapy, only with having contact with pets. So this movement in form of exercises, physical movement with intention. So regular exercises improve mobility, ability to walk, which is important for seniors to maintain self-sufficiency, for maintains muscle strength and range of motion in the joints, reducing their pain. This is very important. And here are the effects of the exercises. So cardiovascular system increases metabolism, improves intestinal peristalsis, so it reduces risk of colon cancer, improves sleep quality, learning abilities, or short-term memory. These are the results of the serious research studies. So problems are improving, and coordination of movements is improved, thus reducing the risk of falls. So exercises has some more positive than negative effects. These are some our design solutions to create some exercises utensils that are not exercises utensils, like this one-handed barbell. And it is made of acacia wood, which is heavy, plus there are the brass sticks that are making it even harder. So it's not a design concept how to design something that matches to living room and is more cozy and doesn't has such a, when you have some exercising utensil in the living room, it doesn't make a nice appearance. Or to include this kind of elements also to some normal furnishing, so incorporate the equipment for power exercises and exercises with own body weight into interior. This was designed by our students. And what is the most important is the free space for physical activity at home and in the garden. This is something that we have experienced during COVID times, when to have some own space for having exercises was very important also for mental health. And what is very important is outdoor public space, which can include also special utensils for practicing for seniors. This is one of the examples that is already inspiration for many other solutions around the world. This is made in Vancouver, in Canada. It's called Delta Lions Wellness Park, and is furnished to support balance and dexterity and accessibility. So these are the print scheme from the film that I found about this park, and this guy that stands in the front is Harry Kay, founder of the park. He was before pharmaceuticals, I think so, and he was inspired in China, where are these playgrounds for elderly already spread, and he found the financing and everything and settled this park. So what is interesting is this therapeutic. So it's possible to meet such a therapeutic there in person, then to set the combination of the exercises, and then anybody can come there anytime. So you can do it alone, so that there are not too much challenging sites. So it's quite safe, but of course it is also about the risk management. Other examples from the China. So they are designed different way, and this one is set in the colorful plastic and metal elements. So there are also different approaches, as you can see in the previous one. So this is about the design. It's more, let's say, neutral. There are no screaming colors, but it can be also set like that, so to be really visible. And this is also interesting. So in China there is a different culture about practicing outside. So they were used already before to make together Tai Chi and so on. So it is maybe easier for seniors to go out and to train something on the public. So in Europe it's probably more shame to practice exercise outside. And this is in Hyde Park in London. So you can see, so there are no seniors that are in the jogging suits or something like that, so it's more maybe illustrative image, but also the design is more conservative, so there are more different approaches. Right now we are designing something like that with students in our studio. This is in Malaga in Spain, so also something that has more decent. This is some small challenge and inspiration. So this Holland company, Yelp, is preparing outside with the games that the children can play. So it's not only something for user, but you are moving and experiencing something. So you're playing games, and playing games are extremely efficient by learning of anything. So I think so for preparing something like that in age-friendly environment. And I have summarized what is a good playground. By kids, it's freedom, experience, risk management, participation, cooperation, self-expression, support. And plus, by elderly, it's practicing balance, self-sufficiency, strength, sensomotor stimulation. So it's a question if it's possible to combine the parks for children and parks for seniors, because probably there would be some problems by meeting each other, by making too much activity by children and so on. So, but in the public spaces, in the park, so the attraction for seniors to go out, so it has multiple purpose for socializing and so on. So, and the last one is introducing different body postures. One thing I was speaking about also in our previous conferences, but I have consulted it with our rehabilitation doctor, so with a physiatrist that is working with elderly. So this is something that we have developed. What is really suitable for its active dynamic sitting, saddle sitting or perching, and also standing. Standing by in active way, so I will speak about it later. Active dynamic sitting, we know that it's good for intervertebral elements in spine, so to have it more nourished. Of course, by dynamic sit, by people that have already some kind of impairments, it's better when it's not on so the activization is not extreme, and also by fit balls, it's better when they are fixed on one place. So it's not like when when somebody has a really completely balanced state of the body. So there are certain restrictions, but still it's suitable active sitting. And it's about this concept of perching and saddle sitting, so to be in 135 degrees angle between spine and the legs. So this is something that maintains the spine in the better position. So these are the concepts that are involved, that have incorporated perching. This is locus from upright furniture, and so also this is for dynamic stand, but the body is supported here. See it like that. This is one of the older ones from Stockholm area design now. So, and this is Capisco chair with this multi-postural, so we can really stand, sit on that many postures, and it is something that is very relevant also. And older people are, I think so, we will be really in the retirement period. So in 65, we will still have to use the office chairs. So really the multi-postural chairs are suitable also for higher age. These are the concept of Finnish company Sally that has developed this kind of this kind of saddle seat, and specialty is that gives the empty space. So there is space to not to press the end of the spine, and it has a connection also to digestion and also to when people are in the future age, so to support the fertility. So our concept of perching and saddle sitting, we have designed a couple of years ago. And this is a combination of both saddle seat and also of the perching. Also important is working with legs, so to have the to stretch the legs and not only at home but also at the public spaces like in cinemas and so on. But this is also about the culture because we are educated to be more elegant by sitting, so not to really be in a very relaxed and informal position. And with age, we are getting more and more conservative. What has sense is the optimization of existing standards because the change is always very painful. So that's why it has a meaning to really improve the norms that are valid for sitting furniture. We are forced to sit, so then to sit as well as possible. And important here is the space where we can put our bottom to the back. This is important to get the spine as much as in healthy position. Also by the relaxing sitting. This is also from our previous research that we have re-evaluated all the sitting standards. Same problem with this, but here is crucial to put the legs up and to have support for the neck. This is the most important of that. Optimization. Here is good to have the angle 115 and what I have said, the support of the neck and support of the legs. By normal sitting is by usually we are making this so we are deforming our neck spine just because here is the back angle between back and the seat. And the brutal seat, this is something that is recommended by physiotherapists and orthopedists. So it's a posture of 6 months old child, and we should sit. This is considered to be without backrest, which is a little bit more tiring when people are not used to it. And using a more informal body positions and also creating informal space, which is starting to be problematic by older people because they are more ashamed to be so free in body postures. Is the concept of Gallenkrantz from the thinking chair. And as you can see, so people are in different positions in the common space. And also this is constructive relaxing position. Should be good to have such an option also on working places and so on, or in some common spaces, in some social cares and so on. Podiums, not only for young people, and this is the question, so if to create some uncomfortable positions like training and prevention from degradation of human musculoskeletal system. So there is getting up and down by going to bed. So this kind of beds are very elegant, very minimalistic, very in minimalistic interiors, but of course it's not so comfortable to get in. But once you are crawling on 4 legs, let's say, it's very healthy for spine. So it's also relaxing. It's a natural movement. So this is our multi-posture relaxing working furniture. But here's a question: if it's suitable also for people that with already existing impairments because it's challenging. Active standing, so this is for active and healthy people, but the active stand means that really walking with the feet also by standing, and this is already something that is initiating too much activity, but of course with people with a lower balance it already can be dangerous. So there are 2 strategies, 2 different approaches. One is maximum support and somatic comfort, so improvement of existing standards, where it is most preferred and manageable way, but we can support passivity and sedentary culture, causing many health problems, losing goodwill to move. And another is challenging, so being curious and further experimenting means more risk of falling, but prevention of fragility and losing body strength. So these are two approaches that we are right now exploring, and we will bring some outputs also in the curriculum that we are preparing. So here is the summary. So how to fight against sedentary culture, so free choice of exchange, free choice and exchange of bodily postures, introducing or standing, saddle seat and perching, combining passive and active sitting and other body postures, more body movement, more blood flow in muscles and tissues, cardiovascular circulation, less degeneration. Motivation and risk management is needed, and there can arise confidence, stability and safety. More body movement, more blood flow in muscles, tissues, and so on. And now there is a question, also the cooperation with social scientists, how to inspire people for movement, natural or with intention, with no forcing, commands, scaring, but how to inspire, motivate to feel collective. Because if you make it like when you will not practice, when you will not move, you will die. So it doesn't help. So it has to be really also kind of part of social innovations where we inspire them also to go out, for example, for these playgrounds outside to create community around it. So it's more a complex issue. Opswick, the author of balance chair, kneeling chair, and many perching solutions. So as you can see, he's sitting on the capister chair. He's I think so 80 right now. But of course, these are his products, so it's not so objective. But this is the person that is more open-minded, sort of. So he has no problem to also behave like 20 years ago. So the using of informal body postures is connected also with the open-mindedness. So I think so it's connected because what is happening to our body is happening to our mind and opposite. So to be more informal, more open, experimenting, it can help also to have better mental state. More shortly, to fine motor skills, weakened by age itself, by injury, or by various medical treatments, for example by chemotherapy. This condition can affect grasp in significant way, and also tremor occurs. It can lead to feeling of shame, and in the end also isolation or depression. And what is possible to implement are also some social innovation, like this socks from Granny, this project I presented last year, I think so 2 years ago. So here is about knitting and handworks, where it is natural way of improving fine motor skills, but it's connected also with the social inclusion, sharing of knowledge and being useful for society. What is more practical is like this spoon for tremor reducement. It works, it's electronic stabilizing handle, creates opposite direction to detect the tremor. And many people who stop going to public because they felt ashamed, restaurants are now happy with social life. This product contains dignity, confidence, and independence of user. Of course, it looks different for the first sight, but so it sure helps. But it's not so available. It's not so known. This is the problem, that these utensils are not so spread on the market. So it's necessary also to speak about it with medicine men, with social cares and so on, because it's not so known. No, such a group is maybe not so skilled to find out and to buy it. Also from Yelp.
Veronica, sorry to interrupt.
I'm ending here.
Yeah, okay.
I think so, last slide, one of the last ones. So here is the support of fine motor skills outside of the playground, also from this Holland company Yelp. And these are some exercises that we did with the students, like for simulation and empathizing for the tremor. So they will use the sensors, so simulation suits are helping also a lot by designing this kind of stuff. And this is the design project that I have mentioned in the beginning. So it's Erasmus. We designed the curriculum about all this. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Veronica. Does anybody have any questions?
Maybe just one short question. So did you study, or are you aware of the studies of the psychological factors, like an older adult being scared of going out because of perceived danger of falling, which may not be real?
We didn't make the research in that yet, So this is, like I said, in the beginning, state of the art. So now is the question. So also, if you will have later some ideas how to make it, can also work with some group for a certain time and to observe. To discuss, to interview, because this fear of being ashamed is something that is really a problem for all kinds of stuff, not only by going out to practice, but also for being in informal positions. So it's also psychological, and we have in team in Desire project, we have also social anthropologists, and we are cooperating with doctors and psychologists. So I hope so that we will think some ideas, but I to connect it also with some field research and qualitative and quantitative methods. So as I said, we are at the beginning of this, so I will be thankful for all kinds of your comments for that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Veronica. Our next presenter is Maria Victoria Gomez from Council Institute of Technology. Augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality as driver tools for promoting cognitive activity and avoid isolation in aging population. Go ahead, Vicky. You're muted.
Now,
Okay, now we can hear you and see the presentation.
I see the whole screen, okay. So, good morning everyone. My name is Maria Victoria Gomez. I work at the Castro Institute of Technology in Germany, and I'm going to present the paper Augmented Reality, Virtual Reality, and Mixed Reality as direct tools for promoting cognitive activity and avoid avoid isolation in adult population. This work was developed during the short-term scientific missions carried out under the post-action, including indoor living space, smart habitat for the elderly. On the second project, I had the opportunity to work for 1 month at the Polytechnic University in Cartagena together with the other authors of this work. The structure of this paper or this presentation is as follows. What is this paper about? What the main objective of the work are indicated. A brief description of the technologies under study in the context of this work. This will be followed by a discussion on augmented reality and virtual reality as tools to stimulate and motivate the people. And I will also present the results of an experimental study of immersive experience of alien population with augmented reality and virtual reality, and we conclude with the main conclusion of the work. So, what is this paper about? This paper presents augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality technologies as candidate tools to promote cognitive and physical activity and to prevent social isolation in the elderly population. In addition, an experimental study has been conducted in aging population to obtain preliminary results on the benefits and drawbacks of these technologies for the elderly. The exponential growth of the aging population and the lack of resources to manage their needs has stimulated the creation of new frameworks and solutions in which information and communication technologies play an important role. The COVID pandemic has also served to reinforce the fact that information and communication technologies can help to prevent isolation, enabling social interaction where population mobility is reduced or restrictions are applied due to lockdown. These technologies are also being used to help the aging population with their health needs, for example, to address cognitive aging. In this sense, immersive technologies such as augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality offer other people the opportunity to be stimulated and to have experiences that reinforce and improve their psychomotor and cognitive abilities. We can summarize this part by saying that augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality are immersive media technologies that provide new scenarios and applications to education, healthcare, business, and society, enabling new ways of learning, interacting, communicating, and enjoying and working. These immersive technologies offer other people the opportunity to be stimulated and to live in a virtual reality environment, simulating physical activities or exercises that they used to do or are now unable to do due to illness, physical or mental impairments. As I already mentioned, augmented reality and virtual reality can be used as enabling technologies to prevent isolation